Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of Japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Kirtam Ashtoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna dear devotees, welcome. Today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. We are
Mataji, there is a lot of sound. I tried to log out and log back in, but you might have to log out and log back in. I can hardly hear you. There is a hissing sound. I don't know if it is happening for others also.
my earphone was connected.
Okay, this is better now.
You know?
Yes, better now.
Okay. Better. Okay. That's good. let's recite the verse. So today, because it is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day for you, for us it is tomorrow. But I thought we could read it today. Your evening will be our morning. That's when we celebrate Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance. And I think there's a program in the evening at the temple also for you. So first we'll just recite the Bhagavad Gita verse, and then I'll read a little bit we'll read the biography of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And if time permits, we can also read Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's recite Bhagavad Gita shloka first. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 12, text 6 and 7. So, does anyone need to go first? Okay. Achintadev Prabhu, you can start.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः
अनन्येनैव योगेन
अनन्येनैव योगेन
मां ध्यायन्ता उपासते
मां ध्यायन्ता उपासते
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
मृत्युसंसारसागरात्
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ
मयि आवेशितचेतसाम्.
मयि आवेशिता चेतसाम्. Translation. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Isha.
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न च पार्थ मया वेशितचेतसाम्. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Krishna Shish.
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मया वेशितचेतसाम्. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Madhava.
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न च पार्थ
Maya visited Cetasam. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from those of birth and death.
Rasapriya. Okay. Mataji, Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept
Yes,
my humble
Mataji.
obeisances.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Divide. Itu sarvam brahmana sannyasanattaraha ananni. Sorry, Mataji.
No problem. Okay, I'll just recite Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text 6 and 7. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananye naiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate mam dhyayanta upasate tesham aham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshita mat maya veshita chetasam. But those who always worship me, giving up their activities unto me, who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engage in my devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their consciousness upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes,
Should
Mother.
I? Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
please.
sorry. She took the phone and disconnected
I
it.
thought so.
Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sannyasa matparaha ananyaiva yogi ananya ananyanaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham samuddharta mrityu sansara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I think everyone. Okay. So let's read about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then we'll read Srimad Bhagavatam. So today is the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Actually, tomorrow for us. I'll just read. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was one of 10 children born to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great Vaishnava teacher in the disciple line from Lord Caitanya himself. While living in a house named Narayana Chata, just near the temple of Lord Jagannatha in Puri, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was engaged as a prominent deputy magistrate and also served as the superintendent of the temple of Lord Jagannatha. Yet, in spite of these responsibilities, he served the cause of Krishna with prodigious energy. While working to reform Gaudiya Vaisnavism in India, he prayed to Lord Caitanya, "Your teachings have been greatly depreciated, and it is not in my power to restore them." Who's praying? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Thus, he prayed for a son to help him in his preaching mission. When, on February 6, 1874, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was born to Bhaktivinoda and Bhagavati Devi in Jagannatha Puri, the Vaisnavas considered him the answer to his father's prayers. He was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck and draped across his chest, like the sacred thread worn by the brahmanas. 6 months after the child was born, Bhaktivinoda arranged for his son to undergo the Annaprasana ceremony with the prasad of Vimala Devi, and thereafter named the boy Vimala Prasad. Around the same time, the carts of the Jagannath festival stopped at the gate of Bhaktivinoda's residence and for 3 days could not be moved. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife brought the infant onto the cart and approached the deity of Lord Jagannatha. Spontaneously, the infant extended his arms and touched the feet of Lord Jagannath and was immediately blessed with a garland that fell from the body of the Lord. Seeing this, the priests chanted the name of Hari and told the child's mother that the boy would certainly become a great devotee one day. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur learned that the Lord's garland had fallen on his son, he realized that this was the son for whom he had prayed. So what happened? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was an infant, 6 months old infant at the time. So Lord Jagannath's cart, the Rath Yatra cart, stopped in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not there at the time, but his wife was there with the baby, and the cart stayed there for 3 days in front of their house. So because she was the magistrate's wife, he was in a very big post. Srila Prabhupada says practically next to the governor of the state. That was his position. So his wife was allowed to go on top of the cart. So she brought the baby and she went on top and put the baby in front of the deity. And the baby, spontaneously, 6-month-old baby, extended his arms as if to embrace deity. And a garland from Lord Jagannath spontaneously just fell around the baby like a garland. So Srila Prabhupada says blessings from Lord Jagannath. So by seeing this, all the priests on the chariot said that this boy will certainly, this boy will be a great Vaishnava. And then when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur got news about this, he understood this boy is the answer to my prayers. What was the prayer? That Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings have been lost, and he needed a powerful devotee to once again revive Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings in the society. So he realized that this was the son for whom he had prayed to the Lord. Vimala Prasad stayed in Puri, so his name was Vimala Prasad. Vimala Prasad stayed in Puri for 10 months after his birth and then went to Bengal by palanquin on his mother's lap. His infancy was spent at Nadia district's Ranaghat, hearing topics of Sri Hari from his mother. So when he was 10 months old, he left Puri to go to Bengal, and he spent his babyhood, right, infancy, in Ranaghat, hearing topics of Sri Hari from his mother. Bhaktivinoda and his wife were orthodox and virtuous. They never allowed their children to eat anything other than prasad, nor to associate with bad company. One day, when Bimala Prasad was still a child of no more than 4 years, his father mildly rebuked him for eating a mango not yet duly offered to Lord Krishna. Bimala Prasad, although only a child, considered himself an offender to the Lord and vowed never to eat mangoes again. This was a vow that he would follow throughout his life. By the time so this happened when he was about less than 4 years old, when he was like 3-year-old child. And some mangoes were brought in the season, which were not yet offered to the deity. And a small child just took the mango and put it in his mouth. He ate. So mildly, the father said, "Oh, you have eaten the mango which is meant for the deity. This is very bad." That child felt so bad that he has eaten the deity's mango that he took a vow never to eat mango in his entire life. And he kept that vow throughout his life. Srila Prabhupada says that whenever the disciples would offer him mango, he would say, "No, I'm an offender. I cannot eat mangoes. I'm an offender." He never ate mango all his life. So again, we see the quality of an acharya right from the beginning, even as young as, even we saw how when he appeared, when he took birth, he had this, his mother's umbilical cord was, no, well, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck and chest like a Brahmin thread. And then how he got the garland of Jagannath, and now we see how he took a vow never to eat a mango, and he kept that vow throughout his life. Yeah. This was a vow that he would follow throughout his life. By the time Bimal Prasad was 7 years old, he had memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita and could even explain its verses. Come on, 7 years old. 7-year-old children, we feel happy if our 7-year-old child is able to recite a few Bhagavad Gita verses. Forget about explaining them. May or may not know the translations, but at least even if they recite, we are happy. He was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, knew by heart all 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita, and he could even explain them. That means you have to know Sanskrit to be able to explain them, right? 7-year-old. Again, you see this, an acharya, you see the symptoms, characteristics right from the beginning. 7 years. Then his father then began training him in proofreading and printing in conjunction with the publishing of the Vaishnava magazine Sajjana Toshini. So Sajjana Toshini was the magazine, Vaishnava magazine, that was published by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So at that age, a small boy, right? But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, seeing his capabilities, he trained him in proofreading and printing to publish the Sajjana Toshini magazine. In 1881, in the course of excavating for the construction of the Bhakti Bhavan at Bagan, right? How do you say? Bagan, yeah. garden, right? Bagan. Ram Bagan in Calcutta. Bhakti Bhavan is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's preaching center. So in the course of excavating for the construction of the Bhakti Bhavan at Ram Bagan in Calcutta, a deity of Kurmadev was unearthed. After initiating his 7-year-old son, Bhaktivinoda entrusted Bimala with the service of the deity of Kurmadev. On April 1st, 1884, so he was still 7 years old, and he became the pujari of Kurmadev, the deity. On April 1st, 1884, Bhaktivinoda was appointed the senior deputy magistrate of Serampore, where he admitted Bimala in the Serampore High School. Okay. So now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a deputy magistrate in Serampore, Bengal, West Bengal. And Bimala Prasad was admitted into high school. When Bimala was a mere student in class 5, he invented a new method of writing named Bicanto. Bicanto. He invented a new method of writing. During this period, he took lessons in mathematics and astrology from Pandit Mahesh Chandra Chudamani. However, he preferred to read devotional books rather than the school texts. So he was going to school, and even when he was just in 5th grade, he was in 5th grade, he invented a new method of writing, and he was studying math and astrology from Pandit Mahesh Chandra Chudamani. But although he was studying these books, what was his interest in reading devotional books rather than school books. In 1892, after passing his entrance examination, Bimala was admitted into the Sanskrit College of Calcutta. There he spent considerable time in the library, studying various books on philosophy. He also studied the Vedas under the guidance of Prithvidhar Sharma. As a student, he contributed many thoughtful articles to various religious journals. However, he did not continue with his college studies for long. Okay. So in 1892, after passing the entrance exam, he joined the Sanskrit College. And he studied many books on philosophy, studied the Vedas, and also he would write many articles for various religious journals, but he didn't continue in college for a long time. In 1897, he started an autonomous Chatushpati, his own school, Sanskrit school, where from monthly journals entitled Jyotirvid, Brihaspati, and many old treatises on astrology were published. So he started his own school in 1897, and there he would publish journals like Jyotirvid and Brihaspati on astrology. In 1898, while teaching at Saraswat Chatushpati, he studied Siddhanta Kaumudi under Prithvidhar Sharma at Bhakti Bhavan. By the time he was 25, he had become well versed in Sanskrit, mathematics, and astronomy. And he had established himself as the author and publisher of many magazine articles and one ancient book, Surya Siddhanta, for which he received the epithet Siddhanta Saraswati in recognition of his erudition. So we call him Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Siddhanta, where is that word coming? Siddhanta Saraswati. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Siddhanta Saraswati was the title given to him for his work in astrology, for the book that he wrote, Surya Siddhanta. That was his name. And then when he took it sannyas, then he became, just Bhakti was added to his name, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So the book written is Surya Siddhanta. Actually, following his work, his book, now all Vaisnavas, Gaudiya Vaisnavas, they prepare the Vaishnav calendar. In 1895, Saraswati Goswami accepted service under the Tripura royal government as an editor for the biography entitled Raj Ratnakar, the life histories of the royal line of the independent Tripura kingdom. Later, he was entrusted with the responsibility of educating the Yuvaraj Bahadur and Rajkumar Vrajendra Kishore in Bengali and Sanskrit. So where was this? Tripura, the kingdom. It was an independent kingdom, Tripura, and they had kings. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was at the time Siddhanta Saraswati or Bimala Prasad, he accepted service under Tripura royal government as an editor for the biography of all the kings in their line. And then he was given the responsibility to teach Bengali and Sanskrit to the prince. After a short period of time, Siddhanta Saraswati took up the responsibilities for inspecting various ongoing activities in the royal palace for the state of Tripura. Inspecting various ongoing activities in the royal palace for the state of Tripura. However, after finding envy, malice, and corruption surfacing in every corner of his inspection, Siddhanta Saraswati very quickly developed an aversion to state affairs and gave notice of his intention to retire to Maharaj Radha Kishore Manikya Bahadur. So he gave up that service. He informed the king that he was going to resign. Why? After finding envy, malice, and corruption surfacing in every corner of his inspection. The Maharaj approved of Siddhanta Saraswati's plans for renunciation and awarded him full pay pension, right? So when he resigned, he said, yes, you can retire, but I'll keep paying you every month as pension, full pay. Whatever you were getting paid now, I'll pay you throughout your life. However, after 3 years, Siddhanta Saraswati also renounced his pension. 3 years later, he said, no, I don't want the pension. He just refused. With his father, he visited many tirthas, holy places of pilgrimage, and heard discourses from the learned Pandits. In October of 1898, Siddhanta Saraswati accompanied Bhaktivinoda on a pilgrimage of Kashi, Banaras, Prayag, Gaya, and other holy places. They went to Uttar Pradesh. They went to Kashi or Banaras, Prayag, Gaya, and other holy places in 1898. At Kashi, a discussion was held with Rama Mishra Shastri regarding the Ramanuja Sampradaya. After this talk, Siddhanta Saraswati's life seemed to take a turn. His inclination towards renunciation increased, and he quietly continued to search for a guru. When Siddhanta Saraswati was 26, his father, understanding the mind of his son, guided him to take initiation from a renounced Vaishnava saint, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was the embodiment of Vairagya and was very selective about giving Diksha. He lived beneath a tree near the bank of the Ganga and wore the abandoned clothes of dead bodies as a waistband or kaupin. Generally, he ate plain rice soaked in Ganga water, garnished with chili and salt. I don't know, it's not even cooked, it's just soaked, right? Rice soaked in water, garnished with chili and salt. Sometimes he utilized discarded earthen pots. After properly washing them, he would cook rice in them. So generally, he would just soak rice in Ganga water and just eat. But sometimes he would find some discarded earthen pots and he would cook rice in them, offer it to Krishna, and then take prasad. Following the advice of his father, Siddhanta Saraswati went to Gaur Kishore Das and begged to be accepted as his disciple. Gaur Kishore replied that he would not be able to give Diksha unless he received the approval of Lord Caitanya. However, when Siddhanta Saraswati returned again, right? So first he went and asked, please accept me as your disciple. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, the next time I meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the next time I get darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will ask him. If he says I can give initiation to you, then I will give. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Siddhanta Saraswati at the time, he agreed. And after some days, he went back to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj and he said, what happened? Did you did you meet Lord Chaitanya? So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, yeah, I met him. What did he say? Oh, I forgot to ask him about you. So he said, all right, next time. Like that. And the next time, again, he went and he asked, so did you meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He said, yeah. So what did Mahaprabhu say? He said, I don't have to initiate you. So we'll read that. So Gaur Kishore replied that he would not be able to give Diksha unless he received the approval of Lord Chaitanya. However, when Siddhanta Saraswati returned again, Gaur Kishore said that he had forgotten to ask Lord Chaitanya. On the third visit, Gaur Kishore stated that Lord Chaitanya had said that erudition is extremely insignificant in comparison to devotion to the Supreme Lord. Someone is very learned, that's not a qualification, right, to get bhakti. Hearing this, Siddhanta replied that since Gaur Kishore was the servant of Kapata Chudamani, Kapata means cheater, right? Chudamani means the crest jewel. The crest jewel of all cheaters. Who is that? Krishna. So, Srila Siddhanta Saraswati replied that since Gaur Kishore was the servant of Kapata Chudamani, the supreme deceiver, hence he must be testing Saraswati by withholding his consent, right? By not giving permission, he must be testing Saraswati. However, Siddhanta Saraswati remained firmly determined and remarked that Ramanuja Acharya had been sent back 18 times before he finally received the grace of Goshti Purna. Thus, he too would wait patiently until the day that Gaur Kishore would bestow his benedictions upon him. Seeing the commitment of Saraswati, Gaur Kishore was impressed and gave him Diksha in the blissful grove of Godruma and told him to preach the absolute truth and keep aside all other works. So this was the instruction from his spiritual master at the time of initiation. You just preach the absolute truth and keep all other works aside. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur got initiation. In March 1900, Saraswati accompanied Bhaktivinoda on a pilgrimage of Balasore, Remuna. Remuna is where Khirchor Gopinath, right? Orissa. Bhuvaneshwar and Puri. As instructed by Bhaktivinoda, Saraswati gave lectures from Chaitanya Charitamrita with profound purports. Through the initiative of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the flow of pure bhakti again began to inundate the world. After Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, a period of darkness ensued in which the river of bhakti had been choked and practically dried up. The end of the period was brought about by the undaunted preaching of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He wrote a number of books on Shuddha Bhakti, Siddhanta, and published numerous religious periodicals. He inspired many to take up the service of Lord Gauranga and instituted various Namahatta and Prapanna Ashram, Gaudiya Math centers. Who did all this? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In 1905, Siddhanta Saraswati took a vow to chant a Hare Krishna mantra 1,000,000,000 times. 1,000,000,000 times. 1 million is 10 lakhs. And 10 million is 1 crore. That means 100 crores in India, or 1 billion names. Residing in Mayapur in a grass hut near the birthplace of Lord Caitanya, he chanted the mantra day and night. He cooked rice once a day in an earthen pot and ate nothing more. Just rice, nothing, no dal, nothing, just rice, cooked rice. You know how he would eat it? He would just, like, I forget what it is called, but there's a term for this type of eating. The rice that he cooked would be on the ground, directly on the ground. So the practice is to eat like a cow, right? Cow eats off from the ground, right? So cooked rice, prasad would be put on the ground. He would put both his hands behind his back, take a breath, bow down, and eat whatever he can in that one breath, in that, right, without getting up. He would bow down, hands back, and he would eat whatever he ate, and once he sits up, done. No more eating for the day, finished. Very, very severe austerity, and not just for one day, once a year, or like that. No, every day. For a long time he did that. So, and then he would chant 1 billion names. Residing in Mayapur in a grass hut near the birthplace of Lord Caitanya, he chanted the mantra day and night. He cooked rice once a day in an earthen pot and ate nothing more. He slept on the ground, and when the rainwater leaked through the grass ceiling, he sat beneath an umbrella chanting. So he was staying in a grass hut, and it would rain in the rainy season, and water would come down. That wouldn't stop him from his chanting. He would just keep an umbrella on his head and he would continue chanting day and night. And he was living alone in a grass hut. He just built like his little small grass hut near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace, Yogpit. I mean, Yogpit and all was not even there at that time. Just the place was excavated, that this place is there. In 1912, Manindra Nandi, the Maharaj of Kasim Bazar, arranged to hold a large Vaishnava Sammilani at his palace. At the specific request of the Maharaj, Saraswati Goswami attended the Sammilani or Sammilan and delivered conference and delivered 4 very brief speeches on Shuddha Bhakti on 4 consecutive days. 4 short speeches on Shuddha Bhakti or Ananya Bhakti for 4 consecutive days, one after another. However, he did not take any food during the conference, Sammelan, because of the presence of various groups of Sahajiyas. After fasting for 4 days, that means he didn't eat for 4 days. He didn't eat anything for 4 days, and he gave lectures, short lectures each day, all 4 days. Why he didn't eat? Because there were many Sahajiyas. After fasting for 4 days, Saraswati Goswami came to Mayapur and took the prasad of Lord Chaitanya. Later, when Maharaj Manindra Nandi realized what had happened, who is this Maharaj Manindra Nandi? He is the one who arranged for this conference. So when he realized what had happened, that Srila Siddhanta Saraswati didn't eat anything, when he realized that, he was deeply aggrieved and came to Mayapur to apologize to Siddhanta Saraswati. During that time, Bengal was full of Sahajiya sects such as Aul, Baul, Karta Bhaja, Neda Nedi, Daravesh, Sai, etc., who followed worldly practices in the name of spiritualism. Right? They would do, whatever is written here, worldly practices in the name of spiritualism. Siddhanta Saraswati launched a severe attack against those irreligious sects and did not spare anyone who deviated from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Right? If you call yourself a follower of Lord Chaitanya, you should live by the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So he didn't spare any of these sects who actually deviated from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Even some well-known persons bearing the surname of Goswamis patronized these Sahajiya sects during that period. So it was very popular. Siddhanta Saraswati was deeply aggrieved to see these groups of Prakrita Sahajiyas in the garb of Paramahamsa Goswami Gurus misleading the people. Thus he completely dissociated himself and resorted. He disassociated himself from who? Just in general in society, right? So like he went to this gathering of Vaisnavas, but they were actually Sahajiyas. So he wouldn't be part of the group. He wouldn't sit and eat with them and no. So he completely dissociated himself and resorted to performing bhajan in solitude. Right? Alone he would do bhajan. During this period of solitude, because there was so much hypocrisy in the name of Vaishnavism. You have the Vaishnav dress, but you're committing all types of sinful activities. What is the benefit of associating with them? So he would perform bhajan in solitude. During this period of solitude, one day Lord Chaitanya, along with the 6 Goswamis, suddenly manifested before Siddhanta Saraswati's vision and said, "Do not be disheartened. Take up the task of re-establishing Varnashram with new vigor and preach the message of love for Sri Krishna everywhere." What was the message? This is the direct message from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared along with the 6 Goswamis and said, "Don't be disheartened. You take up the task of re-establishing Varnashram." Because what did they have back then? They only had Babaji Vesh. There was no Varnashram for Vaishnavas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to revive the Varnashram system. So this was the instruction of this was the direct instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Take up the task of re-establishing the Varnashram with new vigor and preach. And Varnashram for what? Varnashram to come to pure devotional service with new vigor and preach the message of love for Sri Krishna everywhere. After receiving this message, Saraswati Goswami was filled with inspiration to preach the glories of Lord Chaitanya enthusiastically. In 1911, while his aging father was lying ill, Siddhanta Saraswati took up a challenge against pseudo-Vaishnavas, false Vaishnavas, who claimed that birth in their caste was the prerequisite for preaching Krishna consciousness. Right? Like somebody who would be, let's say, from the family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's direct associates, okay? His immediate associates, contemporaries of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So some of them would claim like they are descendants, right? Coming in the same family line as Mahaprabhu's direct associates. And they would claim that only their family members have the right authority to preach. No one else can preach like that. So in 1911, while his aging father was lying ill, Siddhanta Saraswati took up a challenge against pseudo-Vaishnavas who claimed that birth in their caste was the prerequisite for preaching Krishna consciousness. The caste-conscious Brahmana community had become incensed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's presentation of many scriptural proofs that anyone, regardless of birth, could become a Brahmana Vaishnava, right? So the caste, why you call them caste Brahmanas? Because they think Brahmana is by birth. Only by birth can one become Brahmana. No one else can become. And then because they are by birth Brahmanas, so therefore they should be honored and respected in society like that. So when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur presented proofs from scriptures, they became very mad, angry at Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur because they became insecure now, right? They will lose their position. So they were angry. These Smarta Brahmanas, out to prove the inferiority of the Vaishnavas, arranged a discussion on behalf of his indisposed father. Young Siddhanta Saraswati wrote an essay, The Conclusive Difference Between the Brahmana and the Vaishnava, and submitted it before his father. Despite his poor health, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was elated to hear the arguments that would soundly defeat the challenge of the Smartas. On the request of Madhusudan Das Goswami of Vrindavan and Vishwambar Ananda Dev Goswami of Gopi Ballabpur, Siddhanta Saraswati travelled to Midnapur, where Pandits from all over India had gathered for a 3-day discussion. What is this? This is the discussion about. Anyway, some of the Smarta Pandits who spoke first claimed that anyone born in a Shudra family, even though initiated by a spiritual master, could never become purified and perform the Brahminical duties of worshipping the deity or initiating disciples. Right? For you to become a guru, you have to be a Brahmana, born Brahmana, not by training or anything. You cannot, and you cannot worship the deity also if you're not born a Brahmana in a family of Brahmanas. So they came up, the Smartak Brahmanas came and made their presentation. Finally, Siddhanta Saraswati delivered his speech. He began quoting Vedic references, glorifying the Brahmanas, right? We also read that the Lord enjoys eating, like the oblations that you offer in fire sacrifice. More than that, the Lord relishes eating nice food cooked in ghee, which is offered, put in the mouths of the Brahmanas. The Lord eats through the mouths of the Brahmanas. Many verses are there. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in other places it is said, the Lord says, you know why I'm worshipped all over the world? Because I take the dust of the Brahmanas on my feet. That's why I have become so, you know, I have become so great because of getting the dust of the Brahmanas, like that. So Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, right? Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Nama. So Krishna gives Brahmanas a very special position. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was quoting these various verses from the scriptures glorifying the Brahmanas when he made his presentation. Then So he began quoting Vedic references, glorifying the Brahmanas, and at this, the smarter scholars became very much pleased. But when he began discussing the actual qualifications for becoming, of course, Brahmanas are great, but then the next question is, who is a Brahmana? Is it simply by birth that one becomes a Brahmana? No. So when he began discussing the actual qualifications for becoming a Brahmana, the qualities of the Vaisnavas, the relationship between the two, Brahmana and Vaishnava, and who, according to the Vedic literature, is qualified to become a spiritual master and initiate disciples. When all this was discussed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the joy of the Vaishnava haters disappeared. Their joy disappeared. Siddhanta Saraswati conclusively proved from the scriptures that if one is born as a Shudra but exhibits the qualities of a Brahmana, then he should be honored as a Brahmana despite his birth. And if one is born in a Brahmana family but acts like a Shudra, then he is not a Brahmana. After his speech, Siddhanta Saraswati was congratulated by the president of the conference, and thousands thronged around him. It was a victory for Vaishnavism. Bhaktivinoda Thakur passed away in 1914 on the day of Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance. On the eve of his disappearance, Bhaktivinoda instructed his son to preach the teachings of the six Goswamis and Lord Caitanya far and wide. So this instruction of preaching all over the world was, of course, originally Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving it to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when, on the eve of his giving up his body, on the eve of his disappearance, Bhaktivinoda instructed his son to preach the teachings of the six Goswamis and Lord Chaitanya far and wide. He also requested that Siddhanta Saraswati develop the birth site of Lord Gauranga. Mother Bhagavati Devi disappeared a few years later. Before her passing away, she held the hands of Saraswati Goswami, imploring him to preach the glories of Lord Gauranga and his dharma, even his dhamma, right? Like Mayapur. Preach the glories of Lord Gauranga and his dham. So both Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the father of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his mother, both of them, at the time of leaving their bodies, they instructed, requested, begged Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to preach the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his dham, his place. Accepting the instructions of his parents as his foremost duty, Saraswati Goswami took up this task of preaching with intense enthusiasm and vigor. With the passing away of his father and his spiritual master a year later, Siddhanta Saraswati continued the mission of Lord Chaitanya. He assumed editorship of Sajjan Toshani and established the Bhagavat press in Krishnanagar. Then Sajjan Toshani was already being done by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. After him, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur continued. He assumed editorship of Sajjan Toshani and established the Bhagavat press in Krishnanagar. Then in 1918 in Mayapur, he sat down before a picture of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji and initiated himself into the sannyas order. At this time, he assumed the sannyas title Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was dedicated to using the printing press as the best medium for large-scale distribution of Krishna consciousness. Like we do book distribution, right? Printing press is the best medium for large-scale distribution of Krishna consciousness. That's also Srila Prabhupada's quote today. What will, or Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj gave Bhagavatam class today, and he also said the same thing regarding book distribution. It's actually Srila Prabhupada's quote. What will your 3-minute talk do? Rather, if you give them a book, then by reading it again and again, right, they have something, you know, that's more powerful, right? Getting a book. So that's why the month of December, every year, devotees all over the world, they engage very vigorously in book distribution. So here also we are saying Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was dedicated to using the printing press as the best medium for large-scale distribution of Krishna consciousness. He thought of the printing press as a brihat mridanga, a big mridanga. Brihat means big, big mridanga. The mridanga drum played during kirtan could be heard for a block or two, whereas with the brihad mridanga, book distribution, the printing press, right, the message of Lord Chaitanya could be spread all over the world. Rohini Kumar Ghosh, a nephew of Justice Chandra Madhav Ghosh of Calcutta High Court, and originally a resident of Bhola in Barisal, now in Bangladesh, decided to renounce the world and engage himself in Hari Bhajan. With this purpose in mind, he came to Kulia in Navadvip, where he led the life of a baul, one of the Sahajiya groups. However, he despised the practices of the Seva Dasis prevalent amongst the Baul sect. Okay, they had Seva Dasis, ladies. So this nephew of the High Court Justice, judge, he was disgusted. However, he despised the practices of the Sevadasis prevalent amongst the Baul sect. One day, Rohini Ghosh happened to come to the Yog Peeth when Saraswati Goswami was lecturing there. Rohini was delighted to see the luminous appearance of Saraswati Goswami and fascinated by his words. Late that night, after spending the whole day listening to Saraswati Goswami's teachings, Rohini returned to his Baul Guru's ashram at Kulia. Without taking any prasad, Rohini took rest, contemplating the lessons on Shuddha Bhakti which he had heard that day. In his dream, Rohini saw a Baul and his consort appear before him in the form of a tiger and tigress, which were about to devour him. Trembling in fear, Rohini desperately called out to Lord Chaitanya. Suddenly, Rohini found himself being rescued from the clutches of the tigers by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. From that day, Rohini left the Baul Guru forever and took shelter at the feet of Saraswati Goswami. Annada Prasad Datta, the elder brother of Saraswati Goswami, suffered with severe headaches shortly before his disappearance. On the day of Annada's disappearance, Saraswati Goswami remained by his side all through the night, chanting Harinam. Before Annada passed away, he briefly regained consciousness and began apologizing to Saraswati Goswami, who simply encouraged him to remember the holy name of the Lord. Suddenly, the tilak mark of the Ramanuja Sampradaya became clearly visible on Annada's forehead. Annada explained that in his past birth he had been a Vaishnava belonging to the Ramanuja sect, but due to committing an offense at the feet of Saraswati Thakur, Annada had to be reborn. However, as a result of his past merit, he was fortunate enough to be born into Bhaktivinoda's family. After finishing his account, Annada breathed his last. Who is this? The older brother of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Once on the day preceding Janmashtami, in the Bengali month of Bhadra, Saraswati Goswami was engaged in bhajan at Mayapur, but was feeling disturbed as he was unable to arrange for milk to be offered to the deity. He was feeling disturbed because he was not able to offer milk to the deity. He was not able to get milk to offer to the deity. As soon as he began to think in this way, he chastised himself. Have I thought like this for my own sake? That is wrong. Okay. Have I thought like this for my own sake? That is wrong. Because it was the monsoon season, Lord Chaitanya's birth site was covered with water and was totally inaccessible except by boat. However, that afternoon, one milkman turned up there, wading through water and slush, carrying a large quantity of milk, kheer, butter, paneer, etc., cottage cheese. Apparently, a zamindar named Harinarayan Chakravarti, guided by Lord Chaitanya, had sent the milkman with all the items. After offering everything to the deity, the devotees partook of the prasad joyfully. Saraswati Thakur was surprised to see so much prasad. And the devotees explained what had happened, right? Somebody had brought it, right? After taking prasad, Siddhanta Saraswati humbly appealed to the Lord, I am very sorry to have caused you so much trouble. Why did I have such an uncalled uncalled for thought, right? What was the thought that he got? Where did all this prasad come? I guess. So, why did I get such an uncalled for thought? To fulfill my desire, you have inspired another person and arranged to send these things. He had a desire to offer milk to the deity, right? Like that. And then all this is arranged because he had this desire. Not only milk, but so many other things were sent. Milk products. Why did I have such an uncalled for thought? To fulfill my desire, right? Because I had my desire, you did so much. You had to arrange all this. I made you work for me, like that. The world was amazed to see the supernatural power of Saraswati Goswami. Many educated persons from highly respectable families were attracted to him and thus dedicated themselves to the service of Lord Gauranga. Between 1918 and 1937, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati found 64 Shuddha Bhakti Mathas at the following places: Navadvip, Mayapur, Calcutta, Chakla, Chaka, okay, Navadvip, Mayapur, Calcutta, Chaka, Mimen Singh, Narayanganj, Chittagong, Midnapur. So these are all the places where Gaudiya Maths were established. 64 Gaudiya Maths between 1918 and 1937. 1918 is when he took sannyas. Navadvip, Mayapur, Calcutta, Chaka, Meemen Singh, Narayanganj, Chittagong, Midnapur, Remuna, Balasur, Puri, Alalanath, Madras, Kovur, Delhi, Patna, Gaya, Lucknow, Varanasi, Hardwar, Allahabad, Mathura, Vrindavan, Assam, Kurukshetra, and outside India in London and Rangoon. Saraswati Goswami instituted Gaura Padapita at Narsimachala on top of the Mandara hill and at several places in South India. What did he institute? Gaura Padapita. That means the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were instituted in all temples, major temples. When you go, you will see. That means wherever Mahaprabhu traveled, the places that he visited, there his lotus footprints were instituted. He initiated 25 highly educated persons into Bhagavata Tridandi Sannyas. 25 highly educated people were turned into sannyas, were given sannyas initiation. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He published the following periodicals to Shuddha Bhakti in different languages: Sajjanatoshani, a fortnightly Bengali; The Harmonist, an English fortnightly; Gaudiya, a Bengali fortnightly; Bhagavata, a Hindi fortnightly; Nadia Prakasha, Bengali daily, Kirtan, and Assamese monthly, Paramarthi in Oriya. In addition, he published a large number of Vaishnava books. In fact, he heralded a new era in the spiritual world. He deputed well-disciplined Tridandi sannyasis to preach the message of Lord Gauranga all over the world. For 6 years, he continued to supervise this preaching work, and when he found that his mission had attained its goal to a reasonable extent, he decided to pass into the eternal service of Lord Gauranga. He recommended to all Vaishnavas to read these books: Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Dasamula Shiksha by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Krishna Bhajanamrita by Narahari Sarkar, and Prema Bhakti Chandrika by Narottam Das Thakur. According to others, they were Prema Bhakti Chandrika, the books that were recommended by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. According to others were Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Prarthana by Narottam Das Thakur, and Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami. So, a few days before his disappearance, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati called his foremost disciples and showered his blessings upon all his devotees. He gave them the following instructions: with the utmost enthusiasm, preach the message of Rupa Raghunath. Our ultimate goal is to become a speck of dust touching the lotus feet of the followers of Rupa Goswami. What is our ultimate goal? To become a speck of dust touching the lotus feet of the followers of Rupa Goswami, not even directly Rupa Goswami, of the followers of Rupa Goswami. All of you remain united in allegiance to the spiritual master, Ashraya Vigraha, in order to satisfy the senses of the transcendental entity of non-dual substance. All of you remain united in allegiance to the spiritual master in order to satisfy the senses of the transcendental entity of non-dual knowledge. Do not give up the worship of Hari even amidst hundreds of dangers, hundreds of insults, or hundreds of persecutions. Do not become unenthusiastic upon seeing that the majority of people in this world are not accepting the message of Krishna's sincere worship. Never give up the glorification of the topics of Krishna. They are your own personal bhajan and your very all in all. Being humble like a blade of grass and tolerant like a tree, constantly glorify Hari. In the early hours of the day on January 1st, 1937, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami passed away. So today is the day that all of you are observing the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So I'll actually stop here today. We won't read Srimad Bhagavatam because it's time. So you have a program at the temple this evening, right? Achintya Dev Prabhu, so Chaitanya Bhagavat? No, right?
I'm not sure. I've not seen the program as yet.
Oh, you haven't
It's
seen
in morning, Mataji, from 10:30 to 12:30.
Oh, it's the noon program. Okay, Saturday. That's right. I was thinking weekends maybe. Okay, yeah, okay. So we'll just read Chaitanya Bhagavat tomorrow then, no problem. So we'll just resume our regular classes.
Mataji, a quick question. So, if Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj disappeared on 31st, is it for some other reason that it is, was it some other date in some other calendar because of which it is first in Mayapur or in India?
Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure because what I'm reading here, it is saying first, but otherwise, yeah, it was first only. Actually, it says early in the morning. So the night of 31st and early in the morning,
Okay.
like that. Yeah, and then his body was brought to Mayapur, and all that happened the next day on the 1st. the whole program and procession and everything happened the next day. But passing away, we read here, right? Early in the morning, 3 o'clock.
I think you just read 31st.
It says January 1st, 1937.
January 1st. Okay.
Early hours of the day. Early in the morning. Yeah. Okay. So we will
Thank you.
end here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, tonight actually.